Okay. So now under features, we need to create a feature file. So how to create a feature file? So make sure if you want to add the feature files, first we need to add one more plugin for this Eclipse. If you don't have, you need to add that. Go to how to add that. Go to help Eclipse Marketplace. Just search here in the Eclipse Marketplace. Search here. So you can search here. So Cucumber JVM Eclipse plugin. See, this is the one. You need to add Cucumber Eclipse plugin also. You can search Cucumber Eclipse plugin. You can search, this icon will be there. I have already installed. So you also need to install before adding the feature files. So then you will see feature files in the Cucumber format. You will see the Cucumber format. Okay. And so let's go and once you install, then so you can directly add the feature files. So first feature file is, see, we are doing the get list of users or just get API. Just this one scenario, another scenario, another scenario. 3 scenarios you can add in the same feature file. So get feature, right? So that get feature, one feature file you can create. So no need of 3 different feature files for this. In this get feature file, you can add, this is the one scenario, get all users, get single user one scenario, single user not found, another scenario you can add. So that's what we can do that. So that I have given here very clearly. See that. So this feature files I have already given config.properties. See, first one is request getApi dot feature. So getApi. So request getApi. Just create the same file. So how to create a file? Right click on the features folder, new file. Just give the dot feature extension. You have to give dot feature extension. Finish. So click on that. See, you will get automatically the feature file structure. Can you see here? Cucumber format. Here also Cucumber format. If you don't install that plugin, you won't get this option. So make sure first you install and then you create a feature file. So the extension is dot feature extension. You can see here all the different versions: feature, scenario, given, when, then, and, but, scenario outline, example section, background. So all this you can find out. Okay. So the first one, these are the tags. Tag 1, tag 2. So title of the feature you can give. So similar, okay. So that's just examples they provided, and we can add that. So this one feature is request get API feature. Scenario, first scenario, request get API to list all users. Okay, so that I have added here. So this one I can copy to this. request getApi feature. So these are all, you can just add all of them. So let me just add these things. And I'll explain you how to write the feature files. This is the how to add the feature files. So just the tags also I have shown you how to add tags. So this is the one you can add a smoke test, regression test, and you can give that the tags for each scenario. So this is the feature, very high level feature name, request getApi feature. Scenario 1 is get API to list all users. That's what here you can see, right? To list all users. This is the first scenario. And second scenario outline. So scenario outline I already mentioned in the last class. It is mainly used to do a data-driven testing. So you want to test. Okay, so particular page and status codes and email IDs, parameters if you want to add, and that parameter values you want to supply here. Different sets of data for the same parameter. Then you will do scenario outline. So like we did a data driven in the Selenium, right? And that in the API BDD format, in the BDD Cucumber format, you want to do data driven testing, you will use a scenario outline. Scenario outline section must be followed by examples table section. So how do you know these column names? The parameter names are the column names here. What are the parameter names you are giving? That parameter names here, the column names. Okay, so let's go in detail. First scenario. What is this first scenario? Scenario 1 is, so you are getting a list of all users. Based on this API, I'm writing for this API, I'm writing the steps. What are the steps? First, given. My scenario name I have written. The given is provide valid endpoint to fetch all users. That's my precondition. I need to give a valid endpoint. So, right, that's a valid endpoint we have to provide. Second step is when send the request to the server. That means you are hitting the send button in the Postman. So in the Postman, if you hit the send button, so this one, right? If you hit the send button, this is the action you are doing. The precondition is providing the valid endpoint URL. So that's the one. And that's what I have written here. And then I validate the response status code 200. So yeah, I'm just checking the response status code 200. You should get this one. So that's what the first scenario I have written. Now the same API I'm automating with a different page numbers. Here a page number you have a 2, right? I'm automating with a 2 and 1 also. How to do that? That's what I'm doing. Scenario outline. Request getApi to search with a different page numbers using scenario outline. That's what the scenario name I have given different than this one. Scenario means single scenario. Scenario outline is to multiple test data will be there for the same scenario with the parameters. So given provide valid endpoint to fetch all users. So this is and this one is same. So that you don't need to develop 2 times. So one step is repeating. That means you don't need to develop 2 times. Then the step definitions. And when so this is different and this is different. Send the request to the server with page number as page. See the angular bracket if you put, that means it's a parameter. That means it's a parameter. If you enclose the name that is in the angular brackets, it's a parameter. So if you don't put a double quotes, it's a number. So that's why it's a number. So this also you don't put in double quotes. That's why it's a number, status code. But I mentioned email ID as in double quotes. That means this one is, so the mail IDs. So the mail IDs are string. So double quotes means it's a string represented. So that's the how you can give parameters. How many parameters you give? That many parameters must be there under example section. Under example section. So that's the second same API we have written. Next, second one is this one. Get single user scenario. Scenario 3 is get API to list a single user. That's a scenario name, and given provide valid endpoint to fetch the single user. So here provide a valid endpoint to fetch all users. Here provide a valid endpoint to fetch single user. So it's a small difference. I'm separating each endpoint given concept. So when you send the request to the server to fetch single user, that means you are clicking on the send button. Then I validate the single user response status code 200 and I verify the response body fields. See, this is called, see, then is followed by end. That means two validations you are doing. One is status code validation and second one is you are validating response body fields. So that is these fields. These fields. See, this is a response body fields. And the email address. Here you have an email address. So there is single user, right? Single user. And first name, last name. That's what is first name, last name. Both you are validating. So then we have a regression, another one. And this is called a data table. This data belongs to only this step, not for entire. But this example section is this for entire scenario, not for a single one. So getApi for single user not found. getApi for single user not found. That's a fourth scenario. So this one. So nothing is there. I'll just validate status code 4.0. So given provide valid endpoint to single user not found. When send the request to the server, single user not found, then I validate the single user not found response status code 404. That is the scenario. So scenario, outline, scenario. So these are the 4 scenarios. These are the 4 scenarios. So we are going to. So this is how we will write a feature files. So one feature file may contain at least one scenario and more than one scenario. So you can write same feature related scenario. So this is the same for API testing and Selenium UI testing also. You can use BDD Cucumber. This is all BDD style. This is all BDD style. Okay. So this is all BDD style means you will write a feature files like this. This is the very important. So when you are working with Selenium or you are working with APIs in the BDD format, what is the first step? Preparing the feature files. That's a first step. Once you prepare the feature file, then you will implement this feature file in the step definition. So here. So let me add other feature files also. Okay, one by one. Let's add quickly. So we have a regress. Next one is Postapi, right? Regress Postapi. So create a new feature file. Regress Postapi. dot feature. You can add. So I'll just copy this code, entire code. I'll just explain tomorrow, but today we'll just add, okay, all the code. Same way, finish that other feature files. So the feature file next is PutApi. Regress PutApi dot feature. Just add this code also. Just add this. I'll explain tomorrow. Then last feature file is regress delete API dot feature. So this is the one. Copy and paste it here. Done. So that's all. All the feature files how to prepare. Every feature file is same pattern. First feature keyword, then scenario keyword. Scenario below you have to use given, when, then. So given is a precondition, when is a action related steps, then is a validation steps. So this is how you will write a feature files. Okay. So tomorrow we'll see so how to design the step definition file for the get feature. Okay. So then we'll finish in 2-3 days this entire okay course. Then so you can practice more. Any questions?